Good Friday morning to you all. We got a lot of updates to cover today. Let's get into it. We got a mayonnaise shortage inbound. That's not too surprising since there's eggs and mayonnaise, but you need to be aware of that shortage. We also have a U.S. aircraft carrier. A major U.S. aircraft carrier damaged after colliding with a merchant ship in the Mediterranean. We got RFK Jr. got his day in the Senate finally. We got an attack in Germany just before J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, was there. We got Watchmen updates, including one from Australia and from all over. And we got financial people reporting in on what we discussed before about the Social Security numbers being reused. We got that and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. If you have an update that you'd like to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. Before we go any further, we do want to thank our sponsor as well, Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts to get out of stocks and bonds, get out of risky things and into something stable like gold, silver, or platinum. They're like-minded and they support this channel, and they have for a long time. If you want to talk with some like-minded people who are concerned about the very same things that you are, you might want to talk to them. There'll be a link at the end of the video to find out more. President Trump has demanded Reuters return $9 million that was paid to them to study large-scale deception. This was paid out by the Department of Defense. Now, if you're familiar with Reuters at all, you know that they are very experienced in large-scale deception. But the mainstream media of the United States has not done a very good job deceiving the American people, because the American people, by and large, have realized what they are doing. So, not a great study, and you got to ask yourself the question, who's the target of this study? It sure seems to be the American people. The USS Harry Truman aircraft carrier, nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, collided with a merchant vessel near Egypt. It was not like a little fishing vessel or something like that. It was a major cargo ship. No injuries, and the Truman is reported to be stable. However, the aircraft carrier did sustain some damage above the waterline. No word on whether it will have to go back into port for repairs or whether it will stay underway. That's the kind of thing that would be classified, so we don't know the answer to that. But we will see in the coming days what it decides to do, whether it pulls into port for repairs or whether it stays underway. RFK Jr. was confirmed by the Senate as the new Health and Human Services Secretary. So Make America Healthy Again is now going to happen. It is underway as well, and we will see more and more effects of that in the coming days and weeks. 28 people were injured in a car ramming attack in Munich. That's Munich, Germany. Turns out he was an Afghan asylum seeker. Not just the United States having problems with people from other places. Now, the really scary thing about this was it was just one day before Vice President J.D. Vance was attending a security conference there in Munich, which I believe he's there right now. We have Secretary of Defense Hegseth in the area as well yesterday, so this is very concerning. The European Union is considering to put a price cap on natural gas prices there in Europe, which price controls being a terrible idea basically everywhere. Whenever you put price controls in place, what happens is then the supply gets out of whack. You start having massive shortages. When we talk here on this channel about shortages, price going up is a shortage. Like, that's the definition of as you have a shortage, the price will go up and up and up, and only some people will be able to get the goods that everybody wants. That's the natural mechanism to restrain consumption, is increases in prices. So when you lock or put a price cap on, what you're doing is you're then saying, well, how are we going to decide who gets the product and who doesn't? Well, it usually turns into who you know kind of thing and starts turning into an influence thing instead of a price thing. All right, we now have the results of the government buyout of government employees in the U.S. Doge and President Trump offered employees that if they resigned, that they could then continue to get paid through September, but that they would be done at their jobs. They would resign of their own accord. 75,000 government employees have ultimately taken them up on that offer. That was less than what they were hoping. That's around 3% of the government workforce, excluding postal workers and Defense Department. They were hoping to get more like 10% of the government workforce to resign, but that did not happen. But just to put that in context, that's about the amount of cutting that Ronald Reagan was able to get done in his term. So reduction of the federal employees by 3% gets us back to 2023 levels. While Biden was in office, he increased the federal workforce by about a little over 6%. So it's going to take more cutting in order to get us down to even where the federal workforce was in Trump's first presidency. Moving over to Israel, Hamas. Hamas had stopped sending out any of the Israeli hostages and was saying basically that was going to renege on the deal for the ceasefire. They have now backed down from that, and they are agreeing to resume releasing Israeli hostages. I'm not sure if this has anything to do with President Trump's threat to open up hell on them, as he said, but that did happen around the same time. So it could have been, but what we do know is that Hamas has backed down and is going to start trying to fulfill their side of the agreement once again. Israel had already moved in place a whole bunch of troops ready to reinvade the Gaza Strip if they did not continue releasing those hostages. Selah says, my neighbor has been waiting for a propane delivery since January 14th. She finally got a delivery today, over 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. That's very concerning. It's cold. It's been cold here in upstate New York. Always have backups, friends. Good word out there. Spooky Fish says mayo jar production has been halted due to an egg shortage that is now impacting the production of mayo. Stock up now. So, friends, if you use mayo for anything, you might want to stock up now. Grab some Miracle Whip or whatever you use, Hellman's, when you see it available. Blue Ridge Prepper says, Steve, I learned something new last week and I'm 50 plus years old. I work third shift, got off at 6 a.m., went to my local Walmart, as I normally do once a week to fill my gas up. The lady said no gas because the internet is down. I responded, okay, I have cash. She said it doesn't matter. Even with cash, they are dependent on the internet to be able to sell gas. This left me speechless. Thankfully, on the way home, I have a local Country Mart that sells gas and still uses price stickers instead of the barcodes. I'll be filling up there from now on, and as a bonus, I noticed that the gas was 30 cents cheaper per gallon. I guess because it's not in a town like Walmart is, not sure if this is common knowledge, but it may help some of your listeners if they can get gas anywhere with cash, or if the internet goes down, or hacks, or storms, or whatever. So, the less technology dependent a store is, the more likely you're going to be able to get what you need from them in a crisis situation. It's a good idea to be supporting your local stores that aren't using technology now, so that if things happen down the road, you'll have a place to go. John says all Joann fabric stores are now closing. Just another sign of the economy in the tank. Also, a good opportunity for you to stock up on fabrics. So if you want fabrics, they apparently are having going out business sales across the United States. Once again, that's Joann Fabrics. Google it to see if there's any near you, and check to see if there are sales there, because that might be a big benefit to you. Lee says Thursday evening in the town of Bernalillo in New Mexico, stopped at McDonald's for a quick dinner. They had no beef. Where's the beef, right? No hamburgers available, chicken sandwiches or nuggets or fish only. Yikes. We are going to have a beef crisis coming inbound, so best get stocked up on your beef, friends. Freeze-dried beef is a great option there. Canned beef, dehydrate your own beef jerky, make your own beef jerky. You can buy up beef jerky or freeze it as best you can. You can also can your own. Lee says Central Minnesota, was at the local Walmart when I saw the owner of the local Chinese restaurant. He had loaded his cart with more than 5 dozen boxes of eggs. So the 5 dozen box, more of those than I thought he could possibly fit in his cart. Wholesale eggs are more expensive now than Walmart. So we'll soon be out of eggs. This is something I've been telling you guys. Even though the price at your grocery store is going up fast, the problem is that it's not going up as fast as the wholesale egg prices. Your grocery stores have locked in contracts at low price points. The wholesale egg price is actually going up and up and up. So that's why you're seeing these restaurants and such going into the stores and buying up the eggs, because it's cheaper there. That's why when people see somebody hoarding eggs, they're going and getting tons and tons of eggs, putting them in the shopping cart. That person might be running a restaurant. That person might be running a church or something along those lines that is going to use those eggs. You never know, friends, it's most people can't stockpile eggs. They don't know what to do with them. They know that they expire relatively quickly in the United States, so they don't want to stock up on them. So usually when somebody does that type of thing, they have a plan for them. Rita Rue says, update, U.S. Department of Agriculture knows that there are people who steal their Social Security numbers of children who are not yet in the workforce yet. Food Stamp Office comes across this all the time when running clearances to see if family members have jobs. Sometimes jobs are listed for 3-year-old children. You are telling the truth, Steve. There is massive fraud on Social Security numbers, friends. Keb says, update, as someone who works for a very large financial institution and issues credit and approves accounts, I'd like you to know we have access to public records. We run the Social Security number and we can see who it hits to. Many times when fraud is involved, a Social Security number will hit to multiple people. Let me say that again. Many times Social Security numbers will hit to multiple people. Lock your credit. And that's a good advice out there. I have done that for myself. If you're not actively seeking credit, like a credit card or something like that, go on to the 3 credit agencies. Go in there and lock your credit down. Just turn it off. You can always go back on there and turn it back on if you're going to apply for a credit card or something like that, or a loan. But if you're not going to use it for the next bunch of months, please just turn it off. Turn it off so that you don't get any false or fraudulent applications for credit for you. It's an easy thing to do that takes you 5 to 10 minutes to do. It's free. You can just go ahead and do that. Please do that, friends. Deborah says, my mother went to apply for her Social Security. Come to find out, the day that she was there applying, she was asked about if she ever lived in California. She told them no. Now she found out a lady in California had her Social Security number, and she lived on the East Coast all of her life. What a mess. She almost had a nervous breakdown. Finally got it straightened out. It's not an unusual occurrence, friends. It is a regular occurrence. This is a real thing. Gray says, I work with 3 Ukrainian refugees, 1 female, 2 male, all aged 20 to 24. They are all in college and they all get government assistance. Good people, but it's absurd that they get things that U.S. citizens don't. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below about that. Erica says, update from Australia. Went grocery shopping today to Coles, IGA, and Woolies. Only checked eggs at Coles and IGA. Both were out completely. Bought chicken breast, carrots, mushrooms on sale, ready to can. We keep telling you about the things that are happening out there, and hopefully you guys are taking action. I know a bunch of you guys have taken action, but I also know a bunch of you haven't. This is a serious thing to do. Stock up on eggs, not just for the short term, but you need to stock up for eggs for a little bit longer term as well. So some of the ways that you can do that is get a silicone cupcake holder or a cupcake baking sheet. Silicone is great because you can just reuse that again and again. You put the eggs in the silicone molds. You can break the yolk. That will keep it from getting too rubbery. You can also scramble it up before you put it into the little cups. Pop it in the freezer. Once it's frozen, you can then pop it out of the silicone mold. Remember that it is still raw eggs, so treat it as raw eggs. And you're going to have to cook it after you get it out, right? But the silicone mold has been contaminated potentially with bacteria and stuff like that. So make sure that you do wash them really good afterwards. But as soon as you pop them out, you can put them in a Ziploc bag. You can then just put the next eggs in there and pop it back in the freezer. Once you have a bag full of eggs, you can put that in your deep freezer and it'll last a long time. If you want to dehydrate them, you can use the same silicone molds. You can put the eggs in there and then stick it into a food dehydrator if it'll fit. If you have one of the old circular ones, you're going to need to put parchment paper down to put the eggs in there. That's a way to do that as well. And then once they're dehydrated, you can then break up the powder and put it into like a mason jar. That's what a lot of folks out there are doing. If you have a freeze dryer, you can just go ahead and do that the regular way, just putting the eggs on the sheets. But hopefully those tips help. Water glassing is really going to be for eggs that you get fresh that have not been washed. Store-bought eggs, you can water glass them if you recoat them in oil. A lot of folks use mineral oil for that. Coat the eggs completely, and then you can water glass them in lime. But I would recommend going the freezing route or the dehydration route because it's just it's going to last you longer, and there's less it's less prone to making a mistake that's going to cost. That's going to make your family sick or something like that. All right, friends, let me know more tips and tricks that you guys have down below. Also, if you have updates, make sure you use the word update. If you want to find out more what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there to Genesis Gold. Just fill out your information and they'll get in contact with you. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report.